Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button if you guys are enjoying the content that we're throwing up. And make sure you guys hit the like button if you enjoy the video. And yeah, let's begin. What's going on, guys? This is Rob, and because you really seem to like our previous video with Deadpool killing the DC Universe, I thought we would pick up where we left off and follow Deadpool into the other universes that he travels to. And so today, we're going to focus on his efforts to kill the Star Wars universe. And I think this is an interesting proposition because, as we know, Deadpool is constantly breaking the fourth wall. And so he's certainly seen the Star Wars movies, meaning that he will know when and where characters are going to be at any given point in time. And also, since Star Wars comics are published by Marvel, this could theoretically happen one day, depending on how desperate for sales Marvel is at the time. But anyway, because Deadpool is familiar with the Star Wars continuity, he knows where to go and when in order to maximize his kill count. And so for this story, he's going to start in Cloud City during The Empire Strikes Back, specifically the scene where Darth Vader hires a group of bounty hunters to find the Millennium Falcon. And in this scene, we see 6 bounty hunters, of course with Boba Fett being the most notable, but we also see Bosk, IG-88, Forlom, Zuckuss, and Dengar. Now, it's interesting because I didn't even know those bounty hunters had names. To be honest with you guys, thought they were just guys who were there, which I think is technically their group name, right? Like Boba Fett and the guys who were there. Sounds like a band. But regardless, Deadpool is going to know that this is not the time to take on Darth Vader. And so he'll basically lurk in the shadows of the ship's corridors until the bounty hunters make their way to their respective ships so that he does not have to deal with Vader right now. And so once the opportunity presents itself, Deadpool leaps into action, first targeting Dengar because he is objectively the lamest of all the bounty hunters and probably the easiest to take out. With him out of the way, he turns his attention to the droid bounty hunters Forlom and IG-88, and then attaches a device to each of them that interferes with their programming and basically shuts them down, which for a droid is equivalent to killing, I guess. But that leaves Bosk, Zuckuss, and Boba Fett, who by now have all realized Deadpool's presence and are firing on him. Now, while this might seem like the odds are against Deadpool in this steep situation, keep in mind that he is going to know what he's up against before he goes in, and he's going to bring along sufficient firepower to get the job done, meaning basically he's going to be bringing bigger guns to a fight than any of the bounty hunters have. And so once he's able to use this advantage in weaponry to take out Zuckuss and Bosk, we get to the fight that everybody wants to see here: Deadpool versus Boba Fett, what some might call a battle of the two most overexposed characters going today. And before you guys run to the comments, remember, I'm not saying that they're overexposed, I'm just saying that it's an opinion some people might hold. It's the correct opinion, but it's an opinion nonetheless. Now, Boba Fett is able to prolong his fight for a bit as he has some pretty impressive weaponry, including his flamethrower as well as his armor and his jetpack. And so he presents a bit of a challenge for Deadpool, but Deadpool's able to evade Boba's attacks long enough that he ultimately gets frustrated and then engages Deadpool in close combat, which ultimately would be his undoing, as Deadpool proves himself to be the superior fighter. And so the fight ends with Deadpool decapitating Boba Fett in a nod to the fate that his father suffered in the prequels. And Deadpool, of course, would make some kind of a comment like, "Man, that fight lasted twice as long as all the screen time you had in the original trilogy." Now, Deadpool would then pick up and put on Boba Fett's armor and jetpack because he realizes that he's killed Boba Fett right before he does the one meaningful thing he does in the entire trilogy: lead the Empire to Cloud City. And so he decides that he'll simply just impersonate him for a while. And so Deadpool takes off in Slave One, Boba Fett's ship, and sets off for Cloud City, where he knows the Millennium Falcon is headed, and relays the information of the Falcon's whereabouts to Darth Vader. Now, he arrives at Cloud City, and things go down just like they do in the movies, up until Han Solo is frozen in carbonite. Now, Deadpool, still disguised as Boba Fett, takes possession of Solo, but instead of delivering him straight to Jabba the Hutt, he flies his ship to the bottom of the vent where Luke Skywalker's lightsaber falls during his duel with Darth Vader, figuring that this is the easiest way to procure a lightsaber. And so when the saber falls into an open hatch on Slave One, it's immediately followed by Luke's severed hand. And so Deadpool picks up the lightsaber, turns it on, and says, "This will come in handy." And then he picks up the severed hand saying, "And this will get me a lot of money on eBay." Which is true, because you guys know somebody's gonna buy it, right? There's always that one guy. But Deadpool would then make his way to Jabba's palace on Tatooine. He would turn Han Solo over to Jabba and then collect his bounty. And so he hangs out until Lando, Chewbacca, and Leia show up to rescue Han. Of course, Lando having been there for a little while, and Deadpool knows this, he's just playing it low-key. Now, he allows all of them to break Han Solo free of the carbonite, but as soon as they do, he emerges from the shadows, now brandishing Luke's lightsaber. And so as Han is operating without his sight at this point, and Chewbacca is without his blaster since he was taken prisoner, neither of them is any match for a lightsaber-wielding Deadpool. And so Deadpool will comment, "Well, that was probably a lamer death than they deserved, although probably less embarrassing than getting stabbed by your incredibly emo son, which is true, right, Kylo Ren? I'm so misunderstood by the world. Dad is so conformist. Right, like waving his hair out of his face. What is like the emo kids from South Park? You guys remember them? That's basically Kylo Ren. But with only Leia left alive, he hesitates while deciding her fate. Now, in his moment of hesitation, Leia reaches for her blaster, which prompts Deadpool to strike her down with his lightsaber, musing that if she knew what Jabba had in store for her, she'd likely rather be dead anyway. Now, by this time, Jabba and everyone else in the palace has basically woken up, and Jabba sends his guards to apprehend Deadpool, but he pulls Leia's thermal detonator from her belt and then throws it toward Jabba and his guards. And so the explosion takes out everybody in the palace, and it would have taken out Deadpool too if it weren't for his healing factor. And so after he's recovered, he gets back in Slave One, travels around the galaxy spending his bounty since Imperial credits won't work once he leaves the universe. And when the time is right, he heads to the second Death Star in anticipation of the final battle between Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker. Now, something that I do want to point out here is that in Return of the Jedi, that Luke Skywalker did show up, right? Like he did show up to Tatooine in order to confront Jabba the Hutt, but then he showed up and he just found everybody was dead and was just like, damn, this sucks, you know, and probably cried a little bit and then left. That's basically what it would be, right? So like maybe he still fights the Rancor. I don't know. Maybe he's just like, I need to take my rage out on something, and then like he hears a noise or he senses it with the Force, and then like instead of being tricked to go down there, like being dropped down there by Jabba, he just like goes down there, kills it, and then leaves. Like who knows? Does it really matter? And so Deadpool would arrive just as Luke and Vader's lightsaber duel is beginning. And so he clears his throat and both of them divert their attention to him. Now he ignites his saber and he says, all right, let's do this, before rushing in to join the fray. And within seconds, his lightsaber hits the floor, followed by both arms. And so Deadpool would comment, okay, so maybe I was a little out of my depth here with the lightsaber skills and the Force and all that. You guys just go back to what you were doing, and I'm just gonna stay here and come up with a new strategy. Now, assuming that Deadpool is effectively useless because he doesn't have the use of his arms, Luke and Darth Vader go back to fighting one another. And once Deadpool has regrown his arms, he gets back into the battle with his new plan, which is an extremely intricate and nuanced one. He's going to use guns. And so knowing that he's in a room with three very proficient users of the Force, he knows he's going to have to do something to interrupt their focus and strike at each of them before they can get their bearings and just redirect the bullets back at him. Although they probably wouldn't even know what to do anyway because they have no concept of bullets. But regardless, he deploys some flash grenades to draw their attention to the area of the explosion and then opens fire on both of them with a machine gun that he conveniently brought aboard the Death Star with him. And so after Vader and Luke have both been mowed down, the Emperor starts cackling from his throne, right? Very good, very impressive. You show much potential. Join me, rule the galaxy by my side, and I will train you in the ways of the dark side. I just want to say, Darth Deadpool sounds amazing. It sounds like an awesome idea. And so Deadpool looks at him for a moment as if contemplating his offer before replying, you know, I'm gonna pass on that. I'm not great on the whole apprentice thing. I'd be happy to kill you though. That's kind of what I came here to do. Besides, the fate that awaits you in the most recent Star Wars movie, if you knew that was gonna happen, you'd probably want to die anyway because it was terrible. You know it's terrible. Everybody who saw it knows it's terrible. You would probably end up regretting it. And so the Emperor smirks at him and says, okay, whatever, before hitting Deadpool with Force lightning. Now to his surprise, Deadpool endures the pain of the lightning and keeps advancing on the Emperor. And so even when he ups the intensity of the electricity, Deadpool's healing factor is able to shrug it off and he keeps coming at the Emperor. Now once he finally reaches him, the Emperor stares in shock at the pain tolerance of Deadpool, who's able to turn on his lightsaber and bury it into the Emperor's chest, killing him. And so Deadpool would look at this and then kind of remark, you know, I should have done the flippy lightsaber stuff from the prequels. It would have been a lot cooler, even though it didn't serve any useful purpose. And so satisfied with the amount of carnage that he's caused, Deadpool turns to leave the Star Wars universe before something out of the window catches his eye, the Forest Moon of Endor. He turns to the reader and he says, you might want to look away. This could get ugly. But I just absolutely hate Ewoks. And then the story would come to a close. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Deadpool's going to massacre the Ewoks. With that being said, guys, we're going to bring this video to an end. If you are new here to Comics Explained, make sure you guys hit the sub button to become part of the Rob Corps. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you drop a like. And I will catch you all later. Peace.